Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to Cambodia Global Dialogue or Southeast Asia TV. Today I have the pleasure, a great pleasure, and even an honor to have a recipient of one of the biggest, highest medal of the Kingdom of Cambodia, awarded to my good friend, Dr. Lalith Goonatilake. And, he's just been awarded the medal of Mahasena, which is one of the highest medal of the Kingdom award to a foreign, national who have contributed in the development of the country. Among other recipients are like the Director General of, the WTO, the former UNCTAD Secretary General. So I'm just happy that he's in town, and I was at his award, ceremony, and I thought that inviting him here, and discuss, aside from the medal, but other issues relating to the food security, things related to Cambodia development of the country. So, Lalith, my friend, welcome.
Thank you very much, my good friend, Excellency Siphana. And it's been a real pleasure to visit your beautiful country once again, and a real honor to receive this very important medal.
Okay.
And if I can
you show off
just,
a
bit of the medal. So this is the medal that was handed over to me by the minister.
Yes, on behalf of the royal government.
On behalf of the royal government.
Yes.
And I think this fits in well because I have been working in Cambodia developing the trade capacity for almost 11 years
11
now.
years, yes.
Yeah. And in the ceremony, it was well quoted what we have done together from UNIDO. When Cambodia joined the WTO, we had a number of challenges. And in this 11-year period, UNIDO was able to mobilize significant funding and also build the legal framework for standards compliance. We supported the standards law, we supported the metrology law, then build a number of important institutions here, the Standards Institution of Cambodia, the National Metrology Institute.
Yes.
We supported the rubber testing laboratory, and also to Capitol, the laboratory by the Ministry of Industry and Mines.
Yes.
ILCC was internationally accredited. So I think I thank the Royal Government of Cambodia for honoring me for this work done, and it's been a great pleasure working in your beautiful country and building this capacity.
Well, Lalith, what you have described this past 11 years since we in a way have been working together quite a bit. I was still at the Ministry of Commerce. We were about to enter the WTO, and then we were discussing what would be the challenge, entering the global trade. The challenge, you said that, Siphana, is all about compliance. If your product, your service is not, accepted by the importing country, it doesn't matter. Your effort to enter WTO will bring no benefit. But establishing a trade infrastructure is not easy, and perhaps I could say that it could take a decade to build the physical infrastructure and the soft infrastructure. So I think this is a medal quite, you should be very proud of it. Yes.
I'm extremely proud.
Cambodia has entered the WTO so exactly a decade. Yeah, it's 10 years. It's about the same time you've been working on Cambodia. I think half of your professional career you spent helping Cambodia. What do you see the moving forward? As Cambodia about to enter the ASEAN Economic Community, larger market, as we move toward graduating eventually from a least developed country category. What do you see the capacity building challenge for Cambodia to go to the next step?
I think as a country, whenever I come here every year, I see development in the country. I mean, we see traffic jams now. I mean, 10 years ago, it was you could have a free ride anywhere.
It's the inconvenience of development.
Because of development. So we see high rises coming up. We see a lot of middle class coming up in the big cities. But of course, there are challenges of equality of development. There are some aspects of this development gone to rural areas, but I think we need to address a number of issues.
Mm-hmm.
One, graduating from a least developed country to a more middle income country. You need to restructure your industrial base. What will be the industrial policy that guides you in the future? There are going to be challenges of mobilizing investment. The initial investment flows were more towards more kind of labor-intensive industries, like you had a lot of garment industries and so on. But now how you get up to the high end of value addition. And then in addition to the issue of investment, you would also need to bring in the technology, the technology selection, technology adoption. And also the base of skills are going to be different, so the academic programs will have to be different. In fact, we have so many now young qualified people entering the market. You would have also issues of youth unemployment coming up. So you need to have a vision for the country, how you challenge this. And also, you are in a very, very dynamic region. There was a recent Asian Development Bank report. It's the Asian century. You have significant development in China, the whole ASEAN community, how that builds into the rest of the world. So these are some of the challenges that the government of Cambodia would need to address. And I'm sure the country has plans for a new vision. And how that transition would work.
Indeed, Lalith, you know, the royal government in Cambodia, you know, is quite conscious of that, you know, and I'm glad that whatever you said sort of concur is along the same line, because Samdai Techo Hun Sen, the Prime Minister of Cambodia, is right now forging ahead on, you know, in establishing an industrial policy, right? And we are now looking at the next 5-year development plan, but we're also looking long term, you know, 2030, right? 2030, where will Cambodia be as a, so to avoid the middle income trap, for example. And the thing that you highlighted are the key element to make sure that we're not trapped in that. But you know, Lalith, in the 11 years you work in Cambodia, you have put together a trade infrastructure, a lot on phytosanitary, technical barrier to trade. And you know, in the last couple of weeks, you see on the news all the time about the scandal about the horse meat. I thought the horse meat is delicacy. You know, it's a good thing. Well, what's all these scandals all about?
I think even yesterday's television, there was an issue of, I think, horse meat entering Italian lasagna. You see. Well, I think, as you say, horse meat as a part of meat, there's nothing wrong.
Nothing wrong with that.
In fact,
that's what I thought.
Yeah, some people would say it's a delicacy.
Yes.
But I think, on the one hand, it's an issue of mislabeling. Now, let's take a simple example. If you take orange juice, some people say it's fresh orange juice.
Yes.
Is it fresh orange juice?
Okay.
What percentage of water? What percentage of orange juice?
Yes.
So we are even used, if you go to the supermarket,
Yeah.
which is the fresh orange juice?
Yes.
Is it canned 6 months ago? It has 20% orange juice and 80% water. So one of the problems here is basically of mislabeling.
Yes.
And replacing a high-value product, because beef is more expensive, and diluting with horse meat.
Interesting.
But this also shows some of the challenges the whole world would play.
You mean just from that thing there's an impact on the world in terms of food supply?
Food supply, because it shows how widespread the supply chain is. And some of the very reputed food manufacturing companies, they are also not really checked on the source of the supply. Now what will happen is that I think most of the big supermarkets would introduce DNA testing.
What? DNA testing? Like human DNA?
I mean, you can see horse DNA is different to the beef DNA. Wow. So they'll do a test to see how much is horse meat, how much is beef, and then is it 100%?
Whatever it is, right?
But this would have an impact on developing countries also. Already, developing countries are having problems with even
just basic lab, right?
just
Look,
basic lab.
it took us 10 years.
10 years to get a lab done.
To get lab done, right?
And if you look at most of Africa,
Yeah.
there are many countries who would like to export, still there are not recognized labs.
Botswana is a major producer of beef, for example.
Yeah.
Now they have to go through a DNA testing.
DNA testing, and DNA is, the testing is now very recent. The concept of DNA was only about the whole world, only about the last century. And the equipment necessary is very expensive. And then also the skills needed to do the testing is more stringent and difficult. So this is more a reflection of an entire world becoming a global chain in food supply.
Yes.
For example, this is a reflection of the growth in Asia. China, 1 billion people coming out of poverty. They would like to consume more meat.
Yes.
India, almost 1 billion people having income rising. So the food supply chain in the world is undergoing dramatic changes. So this will apply even to your Cambodian rice.
You're right. So, but in rice, not so dramatic, no? But still, people need to have the confidence that our rice is free of pests, is free of, you know, all sort of disease also, no?
I mean, Cambodia is also important exporter of rice. You had some difficulty getting into the Chinese market initially because, one, you had to make sure that when the rice is processed, you're following good hygienic practices.
Exactly.
There are international standards.
Yes.
The HACCP is a standard. ISO 22000 is a standard in food processing.
Yeah.
But also, you use pesticides in growing rice.
Yeah.
So you need to make sure the residues of pesticides that end up in the rice people consume are minimal and properly tested to say there are no pesticides.
You know, we are also beginning to export seafood also.
Yeah.
And in seafood is probably more stringent, no?
Seafood is more stringent, and we have, apart from the food safety issue, there is another dimension that is entering global trade.
Yeah.
The issue of sustainability.
What do you mean by sustainability?
Sustainability meaning there are two things. Making sure the world, the greening of the world.
Yes.
We've seen so many floods, so many droughts.
You're right.
In China, we see smog.
Yeah, a big disruption of supply chain.
It's more about a global concern.
Yes.
About are we producing and consuming in a sustainable manner.
Okay.
So are we applying sustainable standards?
Yes.
Is the industry green?
Yes.
And if it is fish, are we overfishing?
Overfishing, you're right.
If you are exporting, let's say, rice or tea, are we contributing to deforestation?
Yes, okay.
So there are some new standards entering this area.
Well, I mean, I think it's linked also to the last year conference, the Rio +20, when we talk a lot about this, now we're moving from the MDG, the Millennium Development Goal, to the SDG, Sustainable Development Goal. How do you see this, you know, the whole dramatic climate change effect on the world there, and how do you see its impact, for sure, on the sustainability, you know, of many of our resources?
Yeah. I mean, UNIDO recently started what's called the Green Industry Platform. I mean, the idea is to make sure that your industrial outputs and your industrial policies are geared in a way to make sure that you start green. You are starting with industrial development with the strict commitment that you would be protecting the environment.
Yes.
Now, UNIDO is one of the early days, the last 25 years. We have been one of the biggest implementers of the Montreal Protocol.
Yes.
Of eradicating the ozone depleting substance. We heard about the big...
You did very well.
You did very well on that, the ozone hole.
Yes.
Then there were these the hydrocarbons coming in, the spray cans and so on, and the refrigerants were creating an issue. So this is more or less addressed now the last 25 years. But the challenges coming up is more about the fish that we source.
I see.
Are they sustainable? The catches are sustainable. So somebody has to certify people like the Marine Stewardship Council saying, okay, your catch is sustainable. Then the issue of carbon footprints.
Yes.
Now people are going to think about, let's say, exporting vegetables from
Okay.
Kenya to Europe.
Yes, yes.
What's the carbon footprint?
When the plane,
when the plane comes
yeah,
in,
fly to pick up the vegetable, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
So some of those things would come in. But another area that we are really concerned in UNIDO and we are contributing is the issue of energy. I mean, energy is going to be a major issue in the world for the future. And how are we managing the energy consumption in the manufacturing?
Away from fossil fuel.
Away from fossil fuel, plus whatever the source, because at the factory level,
Yes.
you only know you get a cable coming in.
Yes.
But when you're processing that,
Yes.
are you adopting energy management practices?
Efficiency.
Efficiency,
Yes.
energy efficiency. So in fact, there is a new ISO standard, ISO 50001, which UNIDO also contributed in making. So every manufacturing factory
Yes.
would need to demonstrate compliance to energy management.
I know the UNIDO is working with the Cambodian Rice Miller Association to help, you know, this miller, how to improve their technology so that they're more efficient, to do sort of like a analysis, and that. How are you doing in this one?
I mean, first of all, I mean, you need to make sure the technology is proper in the processing, so that the rice does not crack in half.
Okay.
If it's a half a rice,
Yes.
if you're selling it's
Broken
a low
rice,
value,
yeah,
broken rice is low value.
Yes,
so
yes.
this is one.
Yes.
Ensuring the process is correct, and our agro-industries branch has technology in this area. Then you could also use some of the renewable resources in the rice boiling process, like the rice husk can be used as energy source.
Yes.
So your even basic
Biomass.
biomass can be
biomass,
used
yeah.
in, so you are becoming sustainable.
Yes.
You are making sure the byproduct of rice is used for processing rice. And the second part is that when the rice is processed, that and who handles the rice.
Yes.
I mean, it's ultimately ends up in the stomach.
Yes, exactly.
So are you following good hygienic practices?
Okay, okay.
So we help some pilot and the rice millers here to adopt some of these practices, and they get certified to HACCP or ISO 22000.
Yeah.
And then we also get samples of rice to test
Okay.
that it's free of harmful the pesticides.
Yes.
But the government also has a role to play here, making sure that there are some banned pesticides.
Ah, okay.
That the government policy
Yes.
is not to allow the import
Of these
the
banned pesticides. Yes.
and also educating the farmers.
Is UNIDO helping in that?
In that kind, that's a more regulatory
Yeah,
aspect,
more
regulatory
yes,
from the
yeah.
government side,
Yeah.
but also educating the farmers
Yes.
what is the right amount of pesticides to
yes,
use.
Speaking of pesticide, I think it's more, you know, upstream, right?
Yeah.
You know, in the but you know, I'm talking about every time I go to a factory, there's discharge.
Yeah.
There's also pollutant also there.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's a direct linkage between because Cambodia we consume a lot of fish. Let's face it, freshwater fish, the Great Lake, the Goonatilake Lake. There are some factory along the Mekong River. How do we make sure that the discharge is not pollutant? Is UNIDO helping in terms of that
I think
side?
the UNIDO has this program called the National Cleaner Production Centers.
Okay.
This is a concept developed by UNIDO and the
Okay.
United Nations Environmental Program.
Okay.
Now this is to have at national level the capability of consulting, the capability of training anyone in the processing chain how to start clean from the beginning.
Yes.
The solution should never be end of pipe. Of course, end of pipe you can clean,
Yes.
but there's a lot of added cost.
Yes.
So in the design stage of a factory,
Upstream.
upstream, you need to make sure that you are designing to prevent the pollutants coming on the other end. Yeah. So there are many the common cleaner production practices that we can present, and those can be adopted in the fish production.
Yeah.
But I think even when you talked about Tonle Sap, there are going to be some issues in the future of the Great Lake that you have. There's going to be
Are you referring to sustainability?
sustainability.
Okay.
There's going to be kind of less water flow into the
Okay,
lake
okay.
because the dam's coming up.
Okay.
There can be more pesticide residues can go from farming into
Yes,
Tonle
yes,
Sap.
yes, exactly.
So even the current way of farming may need to be changed.
More irrigation,
More-
gonna
more-
take away the water.
Water coming in.
I see.
Yeah. And maybe the solution could be more aquaculture for the country. So some of those issues on resource management we need to consider.
So in a way, as Cambodia move forward, you know, toward the middle income category, we have to rethink on how to ensure the buzzword is sustainability of our resource, of our approach and everything. Lalith, you know, I know that this year you're retiring, you know, after 22 years of service with UNIDO. Half of it is spent helping Cambodia. We thank you for that. But how, if you look at the global spectrum now in terms of, you know, the climate change, you know, all this new initiative of sustainability, but at the same time you also see the regional dynamics, how Europe, you know, how Asia, the Asian century, the sort of thing. What is your prospect of the future?
I mean, it's going to be a very complex world. Europe on the one hand is still struggling to cope with the financial crisis. Even yesterday, the UK was downgraded by the rating agencies. Europe, there are their own problems of certain countries, Spain, Greece. I mean, Greece is now coming up, so Europe as a big trading partner is still having problems. The US, on the one hand, is getting the act together and coming up. Asia, we have seen the Asian century coming up and China becoming a major player and also even becoming the biggest economy in the world. Then there are a lot of political tensions around the world. Then also the question of Africa. We have seen certain growth in Africa, but that's still resource-based.
Okay.
But the bigger problem would be the youth bulge.
Yes, okay.
I mean, millions and millions of people entering the job market in Africa and Asia. Now, unless there's going to be so much jobs created, there's going to be youth that are going to be not satisfied. Revolt, you saw the Middle Eastern revolt. The Arab Spring was purely driven by the dissatisfied youth. So we should draw some lessons from what happened there. So youth employment is going to be an issue. Sustainability is going to be an issue. The confidence in the financial system is going to be an issue. We even have the labor rate. People are questioning. Is that real?
Is that real?
So some of the fundamentals of the financial system. We have seen some of the biggest banks being fined for the kind of fraud in their own transactions. So I think, on the one hand, we are learning good lessons from this, but I think the world leaders have to come together and put maybe a totally different governing system.
It's a confidence
issue. It's an issue of confidence.
Issue of confidence, Right. Well, Lalith, what's your last word?
I think last word, it's actually a happy day for me to see this beautiful award that's given by the government, giving me a recognition of Mohammed Sena. And I'm so proud of this award, the country that I had loved and that I have worked hard for. And I'm happy that the government recognized this, and I have to thank the Royal Government of Cambodia for giving this important award. And I think your own country has emerged from turmoil of 20 years ago and seen as a country that is graduating from the LDC to a middle-income country. And I see a lot of potential here. And also the lessons for some of the other emerging countries. Now we are looking at your neighbors, Laos, People's Democratic Republic of Laos, and Myanmar opening up. So we would see a much bigger area of Southeast Asia that's opening up, and that would have prosperity. I have been, in these 11 years that I've been here, my first visit, I told you earlier that I was as a tourist, then as a development partner. I really enjoyed working here, the culture, the people, and so on. And I look forward to being here in the future as a tourist and maybe occasional advisor. And I once again thank the people of Cambodia for this. satisfaction
Yeah.
that's given to me in working, and also the recognition that's given to me.
Lalith, thank you so much, and let me just say on behalf of the government, I think how appreciative your effort, your organization, UNIDO, have contributed to the development of this country. Let's face it, 10 years is really a blink in an eye. But it's a 10-year where you have put in place the foundation of a capacity building that will enable Cambodia to deliver on our economic development. Let's face it, if there is no trade, how can we have an industry? If we have no industry, how can we have employment? If we have no employment, what happened? It's a social issue. So basically, you've been helping putting the pillar. That I would say it's so technical that if I can use the metaphor of a bridge, the bridge people only see the bridge span where you drive the car across, but they have no idea the longest part is building the foundation below the water. So what you and UNIDO have done in the last 10 years since we entered the WTO is putting that pillar, in the river. And we as a consumer, as a policymaker, as just a normal Cambodian citizen enjoying the benefit of globalization, are walking on that bridge, not knowing that there are other people who have built the foundation. I like to call them the unsung hero. Except this time, you're not unsung. You are recognized as one person who have contributed to that. So let me just say on behalf of the Cambodian government, thank you once again for helping. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, in the short discussion here, aside from Lalith getting an award as a token of appreciation for his contribution to development of trade capacity in Cambodia, there are other issues that I feel is important for the future of this country. One is the effect of things that are happening in the global setting. The issue of climate change, the issue facing from this, I would say, the sustainability issue, something that's been discussed at the global conference, and its effect on the country itself. Some food scandal that happened in one country in Europe certainly could find its way, as a challenge in a country like Cambodia, where we may have in the future to invest, to learn, to build a capacity in this case, DNA testing, if we ever want to ship our food product to Europe, for example. I don't know, but the point is that, Cambodia need to be constantly on the alert, on a global trend, on global situation, because in a globalized world, it will affect Cambodia. It will affect us, and this effect, if not taken care, will affect our economy, our growth. But on that note, I must say that Cambodia have traveled, a long way, and Lalith have concurred that, looking forward, we have a good foundation for sustained growth, and we happen to be also in a good, region which is dynamic, which is the Asian region, and we should not miss this opportunity to just ride this promising century, the century Asia. So good night.